Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are here to celebrate the season, to celebrate Halloween. And how do I want to do that? By reading unhinged Halloween smut. So recently, I saw a vlog that Madison put out where she was just reading all the, crazy Halloween smutty novellas in a span of like 24 hours. She had done this last year, I'm pretty sure, as well. And so I am inspired by the queen, Madison herself. I will link her channel down in the description below. Also, while we're here, I'll go ahead and mention her debut novel recently came out. It's called Good Game, and it's about, I think the hero is a streamer who wears a mask. I don't remember like who the heroine is or anything like that, but nonetheless, it sounds intriguing. It sounds amazing. I've been seeing nothing but 5-star reviews, so I'm very excited to read this at some point, but that's not what we're reading in today's video. So I vaguely remember in the first vlog she did, where she was reading these novellas, that she read Jack by Layla Faye, and so I decided to start out this vlog by reading this as well. I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is what started it all in terms of Halloween novellas featuring a demon with a pumpkin head. Like, he's a dude, but he's got a pumpkin head. So I feel like this is what started it all, this novella. So I feel like I had to start here, right? And I've heard so many things about this novella. There's a lot going on, and there certainly is, because I just finished it a few minutes ago, and like, wow, there's so much happening in this novella. We'll get into it. But it's just about 50 pages, so I flew through this, and that's my goal today, is just to read like really short, like 50 to 100 page novellas and just have a fun time, and I feel like this was also the perfect novella to start off this vlog with, because what more could you want from a Halloween hunk? A dude with a pumpkin head. There it is. So yeah, this is about Susie. She's like a tarot card reader, and she is just very unhappy in life. She seems to be plus sized as well. She ends up summoning Jack, this pumpkin head demon dude, and he's like, I've been watching you for 2 years because you partially summoned me 2 years ago. So he's just been watching her this whole time, and he's obsessed with her, and he is going to have her. And so yeah, that's the plot. That's everything you need to know. First of all, just like dying about the anatomy going on with this dude, with Jack. The descriptions were taking me out. Something I had already known about this novella going in is that his essence, for lack of a better word, I don't know what word to use for his stuff that's not disgusting. So I think I'm gonna go with essence, because that sounds like almost like a skincare product, but his essence tastes like pumpkin spice syrup. And that alone just took me out. I mean, come on, the description of his pumpkin head and the description of his manhood. Again, what word should I use that's like not disgusting? Because like, I don't know if like YouTube is weird about like censoring that kind of stuff, but anyways, like the description of that as well, and it vibrates, like what is going on? And then the epilogue, I mean, I don't really want to spoil anything, but like, I mean, you should just know that at the end of this novella, and Layla Faye puts a content warning at the very beginning that the epilogue is very gross, but at the end they decide to bottle his essence and sell it, because apparently it makes people happy. Like in the heroine's inner monologue, she's talking about how like that's specifically what has made her so happy. So they decide to sell it, and like they brand it as organic pumpkin spice syrup, and I'm gone. I'm deceased already, and this is just the first novella. Like, what are we doing? What have I just read? But it was also just so fun. Like, as you can tell, I'm smiling, right? Like, this was just a fun time and ridiculous and over the top, and that's what I wanted. So yeah, I'm intrigued by this author's works. Like, she has so many different novellas, so many full-length novels out there, and she writes about a lot of different kinds of like monsters and creatures, you know, paranormal creatures. So I'm just intrigued. Like, I definitely want to read more. I think next I'm going to jump into a more normal novella, one that's not centered around a monster. This one is called One Night on Halloween. It says role-playing's never been this real. This one, I believe it's like a dad's best friend romance. And like, he's dressed up as Dracula, so there's gonna be some fun role-playing involved. So I'm intrigued. I'm gonna jump into that right now. Also, sorry if my voice sounds weird. I'm not feeling the best right now. I don't know, my throat's a little bit scratchy, and you know, it feels a little bit swollen as well. So I have some lozenges and I have some meds that I can take that have been helping with that. I hope it's not anything serious, because I cannot afford to get sick right now. I mean, honestly, I can never afford to get sick, but you know, that just is not ideal. So hopefully it's not anything serious. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my next novella and just bring you guys along with me on this interesting journey. Hello everyone, it is time for another update. I have finished another novella. I had a really good time with this one. This one was fun. So this is called One Night on Halloween. It's by Thea Mason, and it's essentially a role-playing novella. We have Zoe and Gabe. Oh my god, my congestion is so bad right now. Like, I need to go take some Robitussin after I film this clip. I'm just realizing it as I'm talking, but anyways, Zoe and Gabe, this takes place over 3 separate Halloweens. We see the first time that they meet. They're both single parents, so I was wrong. This is not a dad's best friend trope. It's single parents, which is really sweet and wholesome. But they meet on their first Halloween because she recently moved to the neighborhood with her daughter. He's dressed as Dracula. She's dressed as Marie Antoinette, and so they have this instant connection. They start role-playing and having a good time together, and this has like magical realism going on. We see that the role-playing becomes too real. Like, we're in the heroine's POV the whole time, and we see that she starts to like actually see this like French palace that they are in, and like, yeah, it's interesting. You'll have to read it to, you know, get the full context of what I'm talking about. But yeah, so they have a really great night together. He wants to take her out on a date, but she just recently got divorced. Her ex-husband was horrible. He cheated on her. He was an asshole. And so she's definitely feeling pretty distrustful of men. And so she, you know, turns him down, but she tells him, hey, if you're still available next Halloween, like, let's do this again. Let's do this role-playing thing again. So then the next Halloween they are both dressed as cave people. So like, he's a caveman, she's a cave woman. So it has like a primal kink vibe to it. That was fun too. Then on the third Halloween is just them as themselves. She realizes that she deeply cares for Gabe and she really wants to give this a real shot. Meanwhile, he's been pining for her this whole time. And so yeah, this was just fun. I'd give it 4 stars. I'd give Jack 4 stars. Like, you know, just a good time, but a very different vibe from Jack for sure. Because this one wasn't like, you know, this wasn't a monster romance, right? It was just more like sweet, sexy. The magical realism was really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to another novella. I have a couple more like pumpkin dude novellas and short stories on my TBR, so I might read one of those. But yeah, I'll definitely give you guys an update probably in a couple of hours. What is up, my dudes? It is 10:30 p.m. now. on the 28th. I have since read 2 novellas since I last spoke with you guys. I also took a nap because, like I said earlier, I'm not like feeling the best right now. Although I am feeling better than I was a few hours ago, which is good. But also on the weekends, I try my best to get as much sleep as possible. That is my goal on the weekends because I have a full-time job now. So during the week, I'm very busy. I don't get the most sleep as I should. So yeah, since it's Saturday, a nap had to happen. Plus I slept in so that I can feel rested for Monday. But yeah, I read 2 novellas. I read The Pumpkin King by, what is it, Cara Demone? That's how I would want to pronounce it the Italian way. Cara Demone. This is a very, very short story. It was like 19 pages and this was kind of a dud, but it was so short that like I didn't care. Like I gave it 3 stars, like, you know, it's fine. What has me dying about this novella, first of all, is the cover, because like I think I could have made a better cover, and I am not someone who is tech savvy or like knows what I'm doing with Photoshop or anything like that, but like this cover makes me laugh every time I look at it. Like they literally just stuck a pumpkin on a man's body, at least like with the cover of Jack, the novella I talked about earlier in this vlog. Like you could tell that somebody put some effort into photoshopping that and making it look really cool. Like I actually really like that cover, even though it's bonkers. And then this one, yeah, I don't know. It just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. And then also like, again, I don't really care because it was so short, but like there were definitely some like grammatical things going on. You could just tell that the author didn't put the most effort into this, and that's okay. That's okay. It did give me slight Nightmare Before Christmas vibes because this is about the Pumpkin King. And our heroine is a human. She finds her way. She's camping alone in the woods. She finds her way into the Pumpkin King's kingdom, and she comes across like the town square where the Pumpkin King is like, hey y'all, I'm ready to find my pumpkin queen. Okay, thanks. And so there's this crow that decides who the pumpkin queen is gonna be, and the crow lands on her head. And so there it is. That's the plot. That's all you need to know. But yeah, this was just fine. But because of the whole like Pumpkin King situation, it gave me those slight Nightmare Before Christmas vibes. Then I read Pumpkin Smash by Darva Green, and oh my god guys, I didn't think this was gonna happen in this vlog, but we have a 5-star read. I gave this 5 stars. And as you can tell from my face, I'm like smiling so much. I loved this. This was amazing. So this is one of those monster romances where like the hero is just like a cinnamon roll and super sweet, but he also has a filthy mouth, and we love that. And he was just like super protective of the heroine. So this one's an interesting plot because our hero, his name is Adam, and he's kind of known as like the town freak. Like people call him Creepy Adam just because he's like a loner and he's just like living his life. And then the heroine, I think her name was Isabel, yes. She is out one night in the cornfield because she is going to meet this guy that she thinks they're gonna make things official. But it turns out that the guy she has a crush on was pulling a prank with her toxic ex because the toxic ex is trying to get her back. And so then the phantom of the cornfield shows up. Like there's this legend in town that like you don't want to be caught in the cornfield alone at night or the phantom will get you. So it turns out that the phantom is a pumpkin head dude, and he scares the shit out of the guys. They run away. Isabel tries to run away, but he's like, no, wait, are you okay? Like, were they trying to harm you? Like, he's just so sweet from the get-go, and I love that. Also love that from the get-go, he's calling her my queen. Yes, yes to that. He wants her to be his pumpkin queen. And so the reason why I brought up Adam is that it turns out that the pumpkin dude is Adam. They're one and the same, but his family had a curse put on them. So basically every night during the autumn season, he turns into this pumpkin head dude. So yeah, this was great. This reminded me of Hayseed. by Vera Valentine. I'll put the cover over here. This was also a monster romance novella that I gave 5 stars, and it reminded me of this because we also have a super sweet cinnamon roll hero. In this one, he's a scarecrow shifter monster dude, whereas obviously in Pumpkin Smash, he's like a pumpkin head dude. But we're also dealing with a toxic ex in Hayseed, and it's just a really fun time. The hero is super sweet, worships the heroine, just like in Pumpkin Smash. So if those vibes sound good to you, please read both of these novellas. They're really great. They're both like 50 pages. You'll fly through them. Yeah, I'm just a sucker for a hero who worships the heroine and all the praise kink. Like, it was good. It was good. So yeah, I think, like I said, it's about 10:30 right now. I think I'm gonna eat a late dinner because I ate a late lunch today. And then I think I'm gonna jump into, I think it's called Goddess Abducted by Scarlett Peckham. This one isn't necessarily a Halloween novella, but I know that it takes place during, you know, the autumn season. And this one's really fun because it's about, I think, like a highwayman who kidnaps the heroine, but turns out that she's really into that. And so that sounds fun. This one's really short as well. It's probably less than 50 pages, I would guess. This one was one that you have to get off of Scarlett Peckham's newsletter. And if you don't know anything about this author, she writes kind of like darker, kinkier historical romances. I haven't read her most recent release, but I have not heard great things about it. But I have read and loved The Rakess, which was one of her most recent releases. I loved that book. So I definitely do want to read her newest release because it's another book in that same series. Other than that, I have a few novellas kind of floating around in my mind of what I want to read. Before I go to bed tonight, I might extend this vlog through tomorrow, which is Sunday, because it's another day off for me and it's still Halloween time, you know? So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. All right, hey everyone, it is 2 a.m. So I think I'm gonna call it a night in terms of reading. I've read 3 more novellas. I think I'm gonna jump into watching the rest of The Age of Adeline. I started that last night and I'm really liking it so far. If you need a reminder, this movie came out back in I think 2015, starring Blake Lively. She's playing Adeline, who had a near-death experience when she was 29 and now she doesn't age. So she could basically live forever, it seems like. So really liking it so far. It's not really Halloween-y, but it definitely gives, you know, a supernatural autumnal type vibe. So yeah. And then the 3 novellas that I read. So I went into Goddess Abducted by Scarlett Peckham. Like I said, this is a novella that you can get access to if you sign up for her newsletter. So this one does take place on Halloween, and this is just some fun kidnapping role play going on. I don't want to spoil like who's doing the role play because it's a fun little surprise at the end, like who the man actually is who's role playing with the heroine, if that makes sense. So just read it yourself. It's a very short novella. It was like 20, maybe 25 pages. But yeah, it was just really fun. I love role play in romances. Just like I enjoyed in One Night on Halloween that had some role playing as well. And so because this novella is labeled as volume 2, I did a little investigating to see where volume 1 was. Turns out that she wrote the volume 1 novella all the way back in 2020. So luckily I still had an old email from Scarlett Peckham's newsletter, so I could access the volume 1 novella, and that one is called Widow and Emerald. Now this one is definitely a Christmas themed novella, but it was also fine for me to read right now. I just wanted to read it now because I knew I would forget about it if I didn't read it immediately after reading volume 2, but these are 2 completely different stories. This one is about Anne, and she is trying to heal from her husband passing away. And first of all, I love that this story featured a main character whose first marriage was actually healthy and a positive thing. Usually when we're reading romances where, especially like the heroine had a husband who passed away. Usually the husband was an asshole or was abusive in some way. So I love that they actually had a healthy relationship. And I loved how Scarlett Peckham explored that kind of grief, and just Anne's inner monologue, her talking about the specific things that she missed about her husband. It felt very realistic. Yeah, it truly felt like I was in the mindset of someone who was actually grieving the loss of a husband that she truly loved. So she decides to go to the house on Charlotte Street, which this whole series centers around. And that house was featured in the Goddess Abducted novella as well. So through her experiences at the house on Charlotte Street, she starts to heal. And then by the end, it's kind of like a happy for now type ending, because we see over the course of this novella that she's been having interactions with this man. And so it seems like by the end that maybe they will try to be something more than just acquaintances. And this was really great. Two very different vibes between the two different novellas, but I truly enjoyed both of them, gave them both 4 stars. And then I just finished Bump in the Night by Cassie Mint. This is the first novella that I have read by Cassie Mint in a long time. Like, it's been months. And unfortunately, that's because I haven't been able to find a 5-star read from Cassie Mint in a very long time. So I've just been very hesitant when it comes to picking up her new releases. A lot of the newer releases that I've read from her, I've given like 3.5 stars. So yeah, and this one, I gave like 3.54 stars. I liked it for what it was, but I definitely didn't love it as much as I've loved some of her novellas that I've read in the past. I feel like some of my absolute faves from her were written in like 2020, 2021. So I don't know like if her writing has changed drastically and I'm just not into it anymore or what, but yeah, I still want to find more 5-star reads from her, but it just has not happened recently. But this one has a fun, creepy vibe to it. It takes place at a haunted hotel. We have our heroine Penny, she's a maid at said hotel, and then Arthur, who is a horror novel writer, and so he's staying at this hotel to get some inspiration because he's been having writer's block for the past few months. And so they meet, sparks fly pretty instantly between the two of them. Cassie Mint is definitely an insta-love queen, and we love that. But this one was just adorable, and it had the right amount of just creepy vibes and supernatural elements. There definitely are some ghosts in this hotel, which is fun. And yeah, this is just a sweet and sexy romance. Like I said, nothing that blew me away, but I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that's it for my reading update for now. I definitely think I'll continue reading some Halloween novellas tomorrow, so I'm not gonna end this vlog just yet, but I am having a very fun time overall. I love that I found a 5-star read, and I've also read some very strong 4-star novellas as well. So yeah, I will talk to you guys at some point tomorrow. All right, hey everyone, it is Sunday night. It's 9:45 p.m. I have not updated at all today. I did read 2 more novellas for this vlog. Also, while we're here, I have a couple new books. I just got my Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of King of Greed by Anna Huang. Look at this gorgeous copy and like the shiny title. Oh, this is absolutely stunning. Cannot wait to get started on this series. I just finally finished up her Twisted series. Really enjoyed that series, but excited to get to that at some point. I also grabbed a copy of The Woman in Me by Britney Spears when I was at Target on release day. That was October 24th. So I now have this. I'm waiting for the audiobook, the loan for the audiobook to come in from my Libby app, because I definitely want to listen to the audiobook. I've heard that Michelle Williams did a fantastic job with that narration. So yeah, I was gonna read 1, maybe 2 more novellas tonight, but then I realized that I really need to get started on my reread of After Midnight by Teresa Medeiros. This is our October book club pick for the Blushing Blue Stocking Society, which is a historical romance book club run by me and Lisa from Remarkably Lisa. We have a live show this coming Saturday. Is it a Saturday? Yes, November 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, I definitely need to get started on this because there is no audiobook available for this. Plus, I just realized if you are planning on joining us for that live show, there is no Kindle version available, at least in the US, for this book anymore, which is crazy because when I read this book 2 years ago, there definitely was a Kindle version available worldwide. I did look on Teresa Medeiros' website. You can get a Kindle version if you're in the UK and if you're in like the Australia/New Zealand. Amazon, like if you have access to those Amazon stores. I don't really know how all that works. Otherwise, you can still borrow this off of apps like Libby, but the version that I found on my Libby app, you had to read it on the Libby app. You couldn't download it to other devices. So just know that unfortunately the ebook is not the easiest to find, at least like an EPUB version that you could read on your Kindle. I'm sorry about that, but like I said, when I first read this book, it was easily available. So I don't know what that's about, but I love this book so much. This is one of my favorite historical paranormal romances. So very, very excited to reread this week. So the first novella that I read today was Unmasking Obsession, a dark Halloween romance novella. And this one is definitely very dark and very twisted. It gave me vibes of Scream for Us by Molly Doyle, even though this one is not a Why Choose romance. But it definitely gave me those vibes, and I'll get to that in a second. But this one is, there's a lot going on. The hero and heroine are step-siblings. The heroine is a vigilante serial killer, and the hero has been stalking the heroine for years. Like, they were living together for a few years when their parents first got married. Then the hero, I think, left the country for a few years, and so they've been separated, but now he's back and he's been stalking her, seeking revenge, because it turns out that she killed his father, aka her stepfather. And so he decides to seek his revenge and kill the heroine at this Halloween party, and he dresses up as Ghostface from Scream, but instead they have some sexy times together, and things go on from there. Yeah, there's a lot of content warnings in this one, including murder. Like, they both straight up murder people in this. But I kind of like that, because usually with stories like this, it's usually just the hero or the heroes who are twisted and like murdery and psychopaths, but I like that they both murdered people. I'm here for that vibe, honestly. But yeah, there was also blood play and other content warnings as well, but this one was great. Yeah, it gave me vibes of Scream for Us, because you've got a hero dressed as Ghostface, you've got some, you know, kinky, sexy times happening at a Halloween party, you've got murder, you've got a lot going on that definitely reminded me of that novella. But like I said, this one is not Why Choose. It's just one hero. So yeah, this one I gave 4 stars, really enjoyed it. And then I read Midnight Mischief. Cannot remember the author. I think it's Lila Andrews. This one I gave 3 stars. It was just okay. I think I probably would have enjoyed this more had this been like the first novella that I had read this weekend, because this one is a dad's best friend trope, which is a fun one for sure. But this is taking place at a Halloween party, and the hero and heroine decide that they kind of want to play a game of hide and seek, where she runs in the forest and he runs after her, and then they have some fun times together. But I've read a lot of that kind of trope already this weekend. So because there wasn't much more to this novella than that kink or that trope, then, you know, there wasn't really anything all that special for me. So I gave this one 3 stars, but I still liked it for what it was. This one was very short as well. It was like 44 pages, something like that, so you would definitely fly through it, whereas some of the other novellas I read this weekend were a little bit longer. But that's gonna be it for this vlog. I think my top recommendations, honestly, Jack by Layla Faye. I think if you are here for a bonkers, unhinged time with a pumpkin head demon, like, read this. It was great. It was a fun time. I was definitely entertained. I was laughing my butt off a lot of the time, and I think that's what it was intended for. It was definitely intended to be ridiculous and over the top. And then I would also highly recommend Pumpkin Smash. Oh my god, this was so good. Definitely a surprise. This one is bonkers and over the top too, but we also have a sweeter hero, lots of praise kink in this one. And yeah, like I said, it reminded me of Hayseed by Vera Valentine, which is another favorite Halloween novella of mine. So those are definitely my top 2 recommendations. And then you heard my reviews of all the other ones. So hopefully you get some good recommendations if you're planning on reading any novellas on Halloween night. I actually have the day off on Halloween, so I might be able to squeeze in a couple more Halloween novellas then. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope that you guys had a good time watching this, and let me know in the comments if you have unhinged or fun Halloween romance or erotica novellas that you really love. I always love getting recommendations from you guys. I would also love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you so much in advance if you do, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!